A few months back, I posted that ChatGPT was very likely going to launch paid ads. And in fact, they have now done so, and it's open for beta. So I'm going to give you a recap on what I covered in that video, and then I'm going to show you exactly what to do to get set up and running, because it is in beta, like I said, and you can now run ChatGPT ads. And like I said in the video before, I think it's going to be one of the bigger paid ads opportunities in the last 10 to 15 years easily. So let's go ahead and jump in. All right, guys, welcome back to the show. While you guys are here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications for more videos like this. It helps with the algorithm. Okay, so in the last video where I covered this specific topic, when it was speculative whether they were going to launch ChatGPT ads or not, which I knew they would because financially they're burning cash like crazy. You may not know that about OpenAI as a company, but let's look at it in terms of like the historic predominant paid platforms, right? So what made them powerful? Let's start with Google first. And I talked about intent-based. So a lot of people, their conversions are going to be a lot higher when they do get a lead. They're searching for that topic specifically. There's no pattern interruption there. Like, they're literally searching for that topic. And so the intentionality is strong there. It's a search engine, right? So they're already there. It ties into the previous point. Like, they're actually tying into something that they use all the time. They're having to go out of their way. They're not taking a break from Google, right? Like they would for social media. And so that consistency is very amazing if you're running those type of ads, although they're expensive because, again, the intentionality, right? So you're fighting, all these ads run on an auction block. You're fighting for that positioning with a lot of other people, and that intentionality makes it even more competitive. So there's massive volume, obviously huge platform, largest search engine in the world, but hence all of those factors make it expensive. On the flip side, and I'm kind of glossing through these, but you can go watch the old video if you want to go, hear more details how I broke this down. But on the meta side, we have detailed targeting. So this is something that you may not know this, but that's why Google tried to launch Google Plus, is because the detailed targeting aspect, they wanted that. They knew that you could gather a lot of information in a social network, and therefore you could be able to more readily target people specifically that fell within a desired audience for your specific business. That, however, though, on social media means that it's non-intent based, meaning you're not searching in Facebook for services or products more than likely, unless you're going to marketplace. But more often than not, it's non-intent based. So you're interrupting their behavioral pattern on social to show them an ad for whatever it is you're selling. Massive user base. Obviously, people think that Facebook has kind of become irrelevant. It's still the largest social media platform in the world. And at one point, I think more than half of the planet had a Facebook account, which is pretty crazy. So inexpensive relative to what you would pay on the Google side. In fact, I have a client right now running ads. I think he's paying about a fifth to a tenth of what he's paying for the same volume of leads on Google, respectively. And then obviously the big concern is platform relevance, right? So the platform has to remain relevant. Google has always been relevant. Probably not going to lose that, although it's lost a little bit of the ChatGPT and others. But for the most part, Google is Google. Facebook has to maintain relevancy for the ads to still make sense there. Now, this is why I thought that ChatGPT kind of married both of these concepts, and why I thought just macro would be a phenomenal opportunity. And like I said, maybe the best in the last 10 to 15 years, is because it captures a lot of the best of both worlds. So it's intent-based. You're in a thread, you're having a conversation. There's deep context around that. It knows who you are, what you're looking for. So then intentionality is there. It's not interrupting a cat video. It's you're talking to about something specifically. If you're having issues with your health, it's going to refer you potentially to a practitioner that aligns with the things that you're specifically talking about. So that intentionality is there. Detailed targeting. It knows more about you probably than even social media. The things that you'll share with ChatGPT, with Claude, with others, probably deeper context than what you would put on your social media profile, right? So we tell AI things that we wouldn't tell because it's private to us, at least, right? Hopefully. Massive volume. It's growing rampantly. This is why it's a new cutting edge opportunity. I think in terms of business passed or referred, it's only at 1% right now from AI, but growing, I think 1% a month is what I read, which is unbelievable. So way early on this opportunity. Massive user base and growing as mentioned, and then inexpensive relative, again, to Google Ads. So that's why I wanted to start with the recap quickly here and then show you what the actual Ads Manager looks like, because I think it's going to be a little bit more seamless than what people are thinking it's going to be, especially because there are some really cool opportunities from what I've seen so far. And I just got in because it's in beta. But what I love and what I'm seeing here that benefits you is the simplicity. They borrowed a lot of elements from Google and from Meta. Kind of everybody's like three-rung setup, right? Where you've got campaign level, ad set or ad groups is what they're calling it level, whereas is where you're building your audiences and then your actual ads. So think like the ads you're going to run, your creative, your copy, all of that. So obviously I haven't even set up my account yet, so I will do that. So we go to create campaign. Again, it's really, really simple. Again, if you've run any Google ads, Meta ads, this is all going to look very familiar to you. So you're going to set up your campaign name, your objective, same as Meta or Google here. Conversions, which coming soon. I'm curious how they're going to do that. I really am. If they're going to be able to track that. So example, we bought an IQ Air, which is it's like an industrial level air filter. And we went specifically from a recommendation from, I think, Grok or ChatGPT, one of the two. If they give you that link and you pass and you buy, that would be a conversion event, likely is what they're going to track. So huge on that. Otherwise, it's going to be reach and clicks. So you would pick one of these two, awareness or direct clicks, which is interesting. Not sure how they're going to do that, so I'd have to experiment with it and see. And then locations. So interesting, right now you can only show to certain locations, which for a lot of you, that's probably going to be okay. Not sure if you can, what parameters you can expand it to. Let's see. What do we have on here? All the majors. What's not on here? South Korea. Let's just put like Germany, right? Yeah. So apparently not available yet because it didn't let me select that one. So anyways, all I have to say, you could do all, which I think is going to be more than fine for most people, specifically if you run a coaching business. I don't think you're going to really utilize a lot of these. Like, you're probably not going to be coaching people in Japan more than likely. I have had some people, though. I had to have one from South Korea, definitely UK, Australia for sure. Not a lot of Canadians. But anyways, you can select the ones you want. And then locations to exclude, which is interesting that they're including exclusions right here at the campaign level. Usually that's something you have to set at your like ad set level when you build your custom audience. So interesting on that. Pretty typical here, campaign or daily budget. So you could set a test budget of $50 a day. I've been hearing that the CPMs are pretty decent, meaning the cost per mil is what that stands for. So your cost per 1,000 impressions. I've been hearing like the $15 to $25 range. That's what I've heard. That's pretty fantastic. Definitely relative to Google for sure. So ad group name. So this is going to be like what you would do for your ad set level and meta ads. So typically what I do for these is I'll say like what the name of the audience is. So I would be like, 10% lookalike audience is what I would call it, or whatever. Or like your seed audience is what we have. We have a seed audience and a broad audience. So like we have different audiences that we use. This is something that you can set the max amount. You'll pay a higher bid can win more auctions. So you could put that. For me, this changes depending on what I'm trying to accomplish. Like if it's sales objective, then yeah, like $50 to $70 CPMs is not unreasonable. But like for typical like engagement or reach or clicks, I probably would want to be at $60 per. It looks like it's optional, so you may not have to fill that out, but you can put that in. No, they are making you put it in actually. So for that, let's just put like $35. Bid adjustment, no costing bonuses available. Okay, so exact same is you're going to create an audience, which is really interesting. It's going to kick me out and make me go create an audience, which again is not atypical. I think X is the only one that allows you to build in line with your actual building out of your actual campaign itself. You can actually build an audience right there, which is great. They all need to incorporate that. So yeah, you could do like 10% lookalike, which we said, right? And then we'll use our email. So email, phone, or email hashed. So you could do email and then you would choose a file. So you would so I do this often with our seed audience on meta ads, but I will basically download our top, I think anybody that spent more than like $500 with us historically. So there's, of the buyers, there's north of, I think we just passed 34,000 or something on with like overall on the email list of the actual buyers. And if I extract all of them, some of them bought like, something low ticket. So they might not be ideal, but somebody that spent over $500 is probably ideal. So that would be a situation where I would do like a 10% lookalike based off of those particular people. Now it's looking like, I don't know if you can do lookalike audiences here. So you may just use that specific email list. So instead of 10%, if they don't allow lookalikes, you could just be like email list, top, whatever, 500 buyers or whatever that number is for you. I think it's like several thousand for us or something. But for the sake of this in simple math, we'll just do this. And then you would add that file. So you do have to give it a source. You can't just create something. which is different. Usually on other platforms, you don't have to create a custom audience. You can do their audience, like detailed targeting, interests, employment, whatever. And this is actually looking like it's going to make you create a custom audience, which is different. So you'll have to have some kind of sourcing. So interesting here, and this is where it's going to get different than what we've done previously. So obviously, make sure your URL is what you want it to be. So context hints. Describe the conversations, topics, or keywords where your products or services may be relevant. These hints guide matching but aren't exact match targeting rules. So basically what it's doing is this. It's basically saying, and this is advanced, by the way, so I don't think you actually have to add the audience. I just resaw that. So you don't have to actually build a custom audience. So for those that maybe don't have that or just getting started, or you don't have a big list, I would probably give it something, to be candid, but it doesn't have to be. Anyways, all I have to say, so context hints, this is the biggest difference. My understanding is this is the biggest difference, is we're now having to say, like, what does an actual conversation look like that leads to your products or services? TBD, it's too early to say what's actually best practices on this. If it were me, and when I do test this, because I am going to test this, I'll probably start with, like, what are the top, like, 2 or 3 things that lead people to us? Not every single, try to capture every single one that has ever led to people having conversations with us. So typically for us, it's content consistency, content overwhelm, making more money from content, specifically for coaches and service providers. That would be what I would start with. It's people come to us, they're a coach, they're busy servicing clients, they don't have time for content, they're inconsistent, they're overwhelmed with it, they don't know what to say, they don't know what to plan, right? They put stuff out and nobody responds, it doesn't do well, or whatever. And so those are the challenges with coaching businesses. And we often tell people, and this is one of our, like, big ahas, is like, you don't really have to have a big audience with a niche business like that. In fact, some of the videos that I've done have like 100 views, and people probably think they're an abject failure, but they were designed specifically to reach a certain person or certain peoples. And like the conversions on those videos can be insane. Like, I can get significant lead flow from one that gets 100. Now, there might be one that I'm targeting that is supposed to get a lot of views. Like the previous ChatGPT one that I did got like 3,000 views in 24 hours or something for a relatively small channel. So it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. We have to, like, divorce this narrative of, like, everything has to go viral for your business to do well. That's not true at all. So anyway, so I would focus on the things that actually matter the most for your specific person. So that's what I would do. Then, and this is, again, typical of what we see, but your ad name specifically, this one's saying discover the secrets of content marketing, turn your content into customers, go your business. So this is actually pulling from our website directly, which is kind of cool. It's kind of cool that it's pulling directly. So this is basically, and we'll see how these are gonna display instead of chat. So it may just pop up like this, where if they're talking about it, it may just show this with an image inside. So that's what I would do. I would have, like, whatever your thing is, if it's to, like, book a call, or, if you're like we have people, health practitioners, like dietitians, if it's that, or financial, these are things that are going to do really well if you are a service provider, and you are providing things that are kind of like gaps or like legal potential issues, or like you need to be certified to do it in some way, or you can get in trouble for giving advice in that area. So thinking like legal, finance, health, stuff like that. I think these could work really, really well for you. And you could probably have just a link to your book now with an image associated with that. And you could just add that image there. So that's probably what I would do, and just word it in a few different ways. It's TBD if they require. So like creative fatigue is the thing on meta ads where, like, you don't want to run just one ad. It's TBD on this. I don't know if that's going to be the case here, but as a general rule, I try to run at least 3 different ads on this, meaning 3 different creatives with 3 different messages, even if they sound and look similar. They can all go to the same thing, is what I'm saying. They could all go to your book now, or book a consultation, or learn more, or whatever. Like, it can go to the same link, but it can just be a different image or different wording or different verbiage around that. So don't feel like it has to be like something completely different outside of your normal scope. Now, this is interesting because it looks like they're doing different ad groups. Oh, this is simple. Okay, so basically you can run different audiences is what that is. It's the same as ad set. So if you want to run like, hey, this one looks like my email list and this one looks like generic, just find anybody that likes this topic. We would call that a seed and a broad. So like this would be my seed audience that has an email list, and this would be broad, like anybody that's talking about that topic. That's what that would be. So same exact thing. What I try to do, this is a little bit of a hack. I do this on Meta. Instead of having to build out and then do 3 ads and then have to recreate the exact same 3 ads for the next ad group, is I actually build out the ads underneath the group, and then I duplicate this. See what happens? It pulls down that ad. So it's going to actually pull that down so that anything you put in there, right, is going to pull down that same exact ad. Because if you're building that, you're going to have to build 3 ads instead of 6. Or if you've got 3 ad groups, you're going to have to build 9 instead of 3. Like that becomes tiresome. And a lot of times I'm running 6 to 10 different creatives. So you're talking a lot of ads. If you can just duplicate it, it saves you quite a lot of time. So same rules apply here. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. You go to configure, and then you'd go to review and set up your payment information. Everything has to have a name. So we'll just give it a name. Review, pretty straightforward. Your ad, pretty straightforward. And then you would hit publish and you'd be good to go. So I like the simple UX here. I think it's really, really easy to utilize. And again, I would say if you are a coach around this specific topic, if you provide something that's really specialized, I think it's phenomenal. And again, service providers that you're in that kind of niche where there is that like gray area around legality of giving that advice, this could work really well for you as well. So hopefully that was helpful. I am offering for a limited time, and I have been in the last few videos. If you do want to set up a discovery call with me, you can do that, whether that's to talk about your AI, whether that's to talk about your marketing integration using AI, whether it's talk about your ad strategy. I am offering that for a limited time. You can grab that link below in the description here. Just take a look at my Calendly link and grab a spot. Alarms, time to stop my workday. So you can grab that. Again, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more videos like this so you can find out follow-up stuff on this topic or others. Hit the bell for notifications and drop me a comment below about topics you want to hear next. If you want to hear me cover a specific topic or dive deeper into something, let me know in the comments below. See you guys in the next one.